What's good, YouTube? It's your boy B Cams. Today I present to you a brand new series that we're going to be adding to the channel. It will be episode reviews, and we're going to start off with the Quintessential Quintuplets. This is a series I like most. This is one of my favorite rom-coms, and they dropped a season 2, episode 1. So I'm gonna give y'all the review of that episode. Might put in some manga stuff in there, so it's a little bit of spoiler warning. I'll tell you in advance. But without further ado, let's get it started. So the episode kicks off with Futaro dreaming about the first day that he met that little girl that we saw in season 1. It looks like it potentially could be one of the quintuplets, but we do not know yet. It looks like he is dreaming about the first day, and he's basically going into that dream world to see how it works out. So then after that, Futaro is in the hospital still from recovering from that skiing trip. Remember, he did have a cold, and he had to be sent to the hospital. The quintuplet's father paid for his billing expenses, so he doesn't have to worry about paying the bills at all. We are first then introduced to the first quintuplet of the season, Nino. By the way, just letting y'all know, Nino is going to have that big development coming soon. I'm just letting y'all know right now. It's not really a spoiler, but I'm just letting y'all know. But anyways, back to what I was saying. Nino comes in, talks to Futaro a little bit, looks at the good luck charm that Futaro, aka Quintaro, gave her, and that she gave back to him because he was feeling bad, so they gave him the good luck charm for that reason. And she is now in the room, just having a little conversation with him. And then she just pretty much says, just make sure my sisters do not see me at all. And that's pretty much where Nino's at in that part. We then get to see Yotsuba, Ichika, which is best girl, don't at me, and Miku all come into the room with Futaro. Yotsuba pretty much thinks she smells pretty much Nino, pretty much because of her perfume and all that. And then Ichika and Miku are having a good conversation with our main boy Yusugi. It is also that Ichika is having some type of feelings, it looks like, towards him, towards this little build-up that we having, this little quintuplet rivalry that's starting to build up. Which then we do get a flashback of that season 1 episode where she did dance with him a little bit. And we got more out of what Ichika really feels about Futaro. And it shows here that she does still feel like it. Even though she is doing her actress work, she is also studying on the side. Which is very good, in my opinion, for Futaro. Making sure that those quintuplets get their education. And then also in that little piece, we also get Miku and Ichika pretty much fighting over Yusugi. They also laugh about it, pretty much, trying to feed him some bread. He go ahead and eats the bread, and then the 4 quintuplets, because Yotsuba finds Nino, so she pretty much drags her out the room, and the 4 of them leave the scene. We also then get to see Yusugi pretty much talk to the doctor, pretty much in that situation, talking about when he's going to get back, what's his studies looking like. They talk about their grades. They skipped a little bit of this in the chapter, but pretty much what happened was he pretty much was talking to him about his future, about who's dear to him and all that, and then the quintuplets pretty much pop up again in his mind. So he pretty much going to go ahead and talk to them outside of that building. We then do get a small hint of that little girl in the dream, because he did take a nap afterwards. He did wake up, and it was Isuki right next to him, but we did get a good flashback of looking to be, potentially, it might be Itsuki, but it might be one of those other quintuplets, but potentially it could be Itsuki. Then they pretty much have their little moment talking about, like, Baka and all this, Baka calling him stupid, and pretty much what happens there is she asks about Futaro, why does he study? So Futaro pretty much goes to his flashback stories of his handy book, and he tells her about his little story. And pretty much at that part, Yusugi, his younger version of himself is very different from what his persona is right now. He pretty much was a child delinquent, causing up trouble, stole his father's camera as well, which we'll get to that later on in the episode, because it comes into play. But then Yusugi also has a little crush, it looks like, as a young kid talking to this little female. And it looked like that little female also has a crush on the friend that he just pretty much threw under the bus. Because he threw his papers, talking about, how, oh, you don't need to study and all that. We then also get to see Yusugi leave the group because pretty much what he did, he pretty much said, oh, I'm not going to hang out with y'all, so I'm going to go fake my injury. Well, no, it isn't really an injury, but he faked a cramp pretty much to be left alone. He left the group. He's pretty much told him he was going to the bathroom. He never came back to that group. And he pretty much is sitting outside by himself on this little staircase. And then we get to see this new female who I do not like, but the way they introduce her, it was spot on of what I did not like in the manga. So it pretty much says she's not that really important, but you will hate her pretty much of what her looks will be. She then accuses of Yusugi pretty much saying that he took pictures of her, and the cops come around the corner. Cops ask a little bit of questions. Then they ask to see his little camera that he has. He doesn't want to show them the camera because he took pictures of the girl that he's pretty much interested in. So it looks like he's pretty much stalking her because of the pictures that he's taken. So he doesn't want to give them the photos and his book of his photography. His camera. Duh, cams. Sorry. But anyways, he pretty much, the little girl from the beginning of our story comes into play. To the one that's involved in our flashback, she comes into play, pretty much tells the cops that he didn't take pictures of her. I mean, of the lady that he pretty much, that she says that is his problem, but it's not his problem. Counter say. But she pretty much lets him know that. And then there was a little broadcast that came in talking about some aliens came to the Earth. It was a little funny skit, and I really enjoyed that. That was pretty good. But pretty much after that, they just went on, have a regular conversation. And if you're wondering what happened with the cop and the woman, they pretty much left the scene after that because the cops were like, all right, we don't need to deal with these children anymore, pretty much. And after that, that pretty much sums up that story of that plot, pretty much. And then Yusugi is pretty much talking to him for the rest of the time that she is there because the quintuplets will eventually come back in the room, pick her up, and they had to go get their vaccinations, which is why Nino was so pressed of not being seen. Same with Itsuki, because they are scared of needle shots. Personally, I am too. I do not mess with needles. But anyways, pretty much what happens after that point is pretty much some flashbacks to season 1, and also some motivational speeches for Futaro and Itsuki talking about y'all can do it, we can do it, and that's how it works for that part. We then, after that, proceeds to our next pretty much little arc that happened during the episode. Pretty much Futaro went into the apartment they are in, and now he got allowed into the doors. One of the quintuplets was in the shower, took out the shower. You know, the same thing that happened with the Nino situation, except that he didn't like do anything. She threw some paperwork at him. It was in a box. Well, not a box, but a little bag. So she threw that at him. He doesn't know which quintuplet it was. So he proceeds to put them in a ponytail. Which personally, I do like the design. That is pretty fire. Personally, I do like Miku and Nino's the most. But that's just me. Anyways, back to what I was saying. So they were pretty much put into ponytails to see which one is the culprit. He doesn't know which one is the culprit. So instead of trying to figure out through their faces, he then proceeds to he does mispronounce their names at first, but he does fix those issues at the end of the day. Later on in our story, he will figure it all out. That's all I'm saying. But pretty much what happens after that, he makes them take a little test, and we know who it is because it proceeds to focus on the one quintuplet, which was Ichika. So Ichika is the culprit of this story. And she pretty much thinks he will not get her for doing this thing that she did, because she pretty much made it like a Nino situation where she just ran away, but Ichika played it off like a good actress she is, which then proceeds to not misprint, but forge her little like letters in her test that she has. And then Futaro figures it out, it's her. So he then tells her that it's her. And then he pretty much explains why he thinks it's her. And then she's like, yeah, you got me. And then he figures out all the other quintuplets scored zeros on their recent test as well, so he just lashes out on them. Pretty much after that happens, they go ahead and have this little conversation. Then he taps on Miku, saying thought it was Itsuki, so he says thank you, Itsuki, and then she's pretty much gives him that little pout face, and she is not happy, not one bit. And then they just started laughing it off. And that was the end of the episode, pretty much. So what did I review? What would I grade this episode? I give it a solid 9 out of 10. To give it a new studio and the adaptation, the animation, I do love it a lot. The adaptation of that chapter, you did skip a little bit of information, but I did like what they did with the little girl situation. I did like what they did with young Futuro's backstory as well. So in my opinion, I give that an 8 out of 10. And that pretty much concludes it today for me. Pretty much, I appreciate all y'all checking out this video. We will drop another, pretty much review all the episodes that come out for this series. So, if you are new to the channel and you like what you see, hit that subscribe button. Hit that like button, get the video out, share it out, do what you want to do. I'm BCams, I am out. Peace out, YouTube. Y'all have a good one.